Today, we are going to be talking about the Facebook fundraising integration with your Walk Participant Center and how to best utilize this tool to be successful with your fundraising. And we have a great guest speaker with us today. But let me give you a quick little bit of background on JDRF, just in case you are new to the organization. JDRF is an organization that raises funds for type 1 diabetes research. And we focus on doing the greatest good for the largest number of people in the shortest amount of time. Our focus is to create a world without type 1 diabetes and to improve the lives of those living with type 1 diabetes today and tomorrow by accelerating life-changing breakthroughs to cure, prevent, and treat type 1 diabetes. And so the fundraising that we do is all encompassing in those buckets of focus. And each and every person who fundraises for JDRF is a big part of that mission. So really quickly, I've asked Jacqueline England to join us again. She's the co-chair of our WALK committee and the captain, I guess co-captain of Lila's Lunar Mission. And Jacqueline she's been doing the walk for a very long time. Lila just celebrated her 10-year anniversary. And, but really only the second year intensively fundraising. And so Lila has great ambitions of what she wants to do when she grows up. But I will let Jacqueline take over from here and talk a little bit more about her family and her passion for JDRF. So take it away.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you for having me today. We do have a strong passion for the JDRF. My daughter was diagnosed 10 years ago when she was 3 years old, and I still vividly remember the visitors with the bag of hope coming into her room at Primary Children's and literally bringing hope for us because I had no knowledge of type 1 diabetes. I didn't know anyone that had it, and I was scared to death. And so it brought hope to me. And then the outreach programs that they had with the activities and meeting other families were so huge to us. And we have families that we met 7, 8, 9 years ago are now literally some of our best friends. And we've just stayed in touch with them through social media and then through different moves. And the JDRF has a huge impact in our lives. Just last week, it was announced that the JDRF had fought against United Healthcare to help give families like ours a choice in which insulin pump we want, which had been a huge stress of mine because we do have United Healthcare, and the pump that we have, the T-Slim, is not covered by United Healthcare when it will be up for renewal. And so I just appreciate them fighting for a cure, fighting for better treatment, the outreach. It has impacted our lives greatly. And so it's an honor and a privilege to represent them and to fundraise for them, for my daughter and for all of the other children with type 1.
So Jacqueline's biggest strong suit, I think, and I learned this very quickly last year, is how she has utilized Facebook to raise so much money for JDRF. And I'll let her tell you a little bit about her goal last year and how she blew that into smithereens in a very, very short period of time. But it's through the Facebook integration. And the coolest thing about Facebook fundraising is that you can raise money for your walk team or your ride team, and people can donate without actually leaving Facebook. So they just click the donate button on Facebook and they stay within Facebook. So Jacqueline?
So last year was the first year that we really fundraised. We did the walk in Arizona 3 years ago. We did the walk in Salt Lake like 8 years ago. But this past year, a year ago, we did the walk in Utah County. And we really decided to fundraise. And I wanted to set a goal at $2,000. My husband thought we were crazy. We should set the goal at $200. And I said, Bud, they're going to let us walk regardless of the amount of money. So let's just set it at $2,000. And I got online. like Stacy had said, just hopped online through the JDRF page. I set up our walk page. I set up all the information on our JDRF page, like with Lila's story. And it is important to set it up on the JDRF page, because then that does transfer over to Facebook, so you don't have to do it twice. I set that up. I linked my Facebook account, and bam, I was up and going. But then you do have a page on Facebook and a presence, but nobody knows you're there unless you share your individual posts. So the key is to connect friends, and you connect to Facebook, and then you invite your friends. And so so then you invite friends, and that's what I did. I went through and I invited everyone that I was friends with, and then I grabbed my husband's phone and I invited everyone that he was friends with. And we're not huge Facebookers, but we do like to entertain ourselves with it sometimes. Our goal was to raise $2,000, and within the first 24 hours of just putting on Facebook and putting some new posts about Lila, some information about why we were walking, why we were fundraising, why it's important to us, we raised over $2,400 in the first 24 hours. And that blew me away. And so then, of course, I had to increase my goal. I increased it to 5,000, and my sister's like, no, you should do 10,000. I'm like, no, that's crazy. And ultimately last year we raised over $11,000, and that was pretty much all on Facebook, by inviting people so that they see every active post that I make automatically. And it also reminds them, it says, hey, you haven't donated to Lila's Lunar Mission yet, which I didn't even know. It kind of politely nagged them. And it was kind of a little bit of a reminder with some of my posts. And we raised all of our money last year through Facebook. And I was just blown away that people we hadn't seen since high school, relatives on the other side of the country, everything, everyone saw it and was very touched by the content, because it was sincere. It was our family story. It was Lila's story. It was the struggles, the successes, and everything in between. And people were really enthralled and had no idea what it's really like to live inside the life of a family with type 1 diabetes. And they got that glimpse, the highs, the lows, the forgetting the luggage when you go out of town, the pump site infections. In my house, we have, Lila has an identical twin sister. And so I make sure to share the funny things, which it wasn't funny at the time, but when I accidentally gave a shot to the wrong twin, or I checked the wrong twin's blood sugar way too many times. So we tried to make it light as well as serious, and just give a real life perspective of what it's like to live with type 1 diabetes. I kind of set a goal as I was fundraising last year. Last year we started in June, and the walk was the second week in September. And I made about one post a week. And this year I was apprehensive about even starting a post or even starting a page. I thought, how can I possibly do that with the pandemic that's going on and the economic crisis? But as Stacy always says, don't answer for your donors. Don't answer. Give them the opportunity. And I thought, okay, I'm going to just put it out there, and I'm going to start a new post or a new walk page for this year and just see what happens. And again, instantly people were touched by what's happened in the past 12 months with the JDRF. We gave updates on research advancements, on how Lila's doing, Lila's health, and it was huge. And right now we started to fundraise the middle of April, and now we're the second week of June, and we have raised just over $11,000 in 2.5 months, which was the same amount we raised in 3 months last year, and we still have 2-3 months to go. So I'll take a pause.
Really, really quickly, Jacqueline, I know people will probably have concerns about inviting all their friends. I I know that people can decline attending a fundraiser. And so if they decline, they won't get the updates, and it won't be bothersome to them if they think that it will be. I've never actually declined a fundraiser that I was invited to, but I know that is an option. The other thing I wanted to mention while you were talking, it's the donation prompt. There's a button that says, would you like to donate? You can see that right at the top. How much would you like to donate? And you can click any of those buttons or the other button, and give whatever you feel is comfortable. I think Facebook's minimum is $5 that you can donate, but it's also, you can choose whatever is appropriate for you. And the other thing that I love that Jacqueline does is each week she posts something on her fundraiser page. So this is not just on Jacqueline's Facebook page, her personal page. It is within the fundraiser, which is why it's so important to invite your friends so that they actually see those posts. And they get notified. Everybody you've invited will get a notification in their notification list. They'll get a little red dot. Is it a red dot now? I don't know. Whatever, they have a notification. I think it's a little red orb with a number in it. So they will see, hey, Jacqueline has updated in her fundraiser. So you can scroll down and see what that is. And Jacqueline has been so kind to help us draft this social post calendar. We share one each Wednesday. We shared one this morning. Today is actually Share a Funny Diabetes Moment or Story. But you don't have to utilize this every single week. It can be something that you pick and choose from as you're looking for things to share in your fundraiser. But we did craft it into a calendar so that if you want to follow along and make sure that you post something every week, that you have this at your disposal to download and have at your computer or your phone or wherever you do your posting. These are probably all Jacqueline's personal posts that she's used to share in her fundraisers. So it's really great to share the why and the what about type 1 diabetes behind your fundraising. And even if you choose not to use this prompt calendar as a fundraising mechanism, you can still go in and utilize these prompts to share your life with type 1 diabetes and help raise awareness, even if you choose not to fundraise. But obviously, we would love it if you would fundraise. So Jacqueline, do you have anything to say about this?
I think there's no reason not to do this. This is just so easy and so natural for those of us who live with type 1 diabetes. And I don't live with it as in myself, but I live with it 24 hours a day with my daughter. And it's so natural for us parents to talk about type 1 diabetes and to share our successes and share these things. And so it was natural to just add a fundraiser on there. And you may raise $50, you may raise $5,000, but you won't know if you don't try. And the good that it does is incredible. And I also feel good about asking, because I'm not asking for money for to send my child to summer camp at Lagoon. I'm asking for a 501c3 nonprofit organization that directly impacts my life. And so it's not me they're saying no to if they choose to say no. They're choosing not to support the JDRF, or they are choosing to support the JDRF. And I don't take it personally if people say, that's not where our focus is, but I've been blown away at how many people do want to support us and are deeply touched by the stories we share, the information, to see what it's really like. Just this weekend, we were in Park City and had a great time, but then my daughter got a site infection. And so I had been posting all weekend on my social media about, the things we were doing in Park City, swimming and hiking. But then I also shared the real life that diabetes is with us everywhere. And even in Park City, we had to stop and treat this pump site and call the pediatrician and whatnot. And so it just makes sense to share it. I did go through last year's posts and kind of create this list off of that. And I will share probably the same post today that I shared last year, which is one of the funniest moments. And my twins don't think it's funny when I share the stories of them, the wrong twin getting a shot or poked. But one of our funniest was when we were camping, and my 1-year-old was handed the CGM receiver and she put it down her onesie jammies. And so as we're tearing apart the camp or the tent, knowing that the CGM is in there because it's beeping every 5 minutes, but we could not find it. And the sound was moving from corner to corner of the tent. And then after an hour of searching, we realized that it was at the bottom of the footy of the 1-year-old who was walking around the tent. And then it became funny after the fact. But we all have these moments where it's just real life and you're trying to blend real life and keeping it real and taking your family camping and taking diabetes with you and having your 1-year-old walk around with the Dexcom receiver in her footy jammies. So these are a lot of the things, these prompts are a lot of the things that I have shared, and people are touched by seeing this side of our family, because often when they see our family, they just see us fairly put together as we come, and Lila strong and healthy and happy, and they don't realize that on Sunday night we were dealing with a side infection and calling the pediatrician Monday morning and going to Walgreens from Park City and dealing with that. So it's been very informative.
And I think a lot of times people just have no idea what you're dealing with. And so having this calendar, if people use it, fantastic. If you'd like to do something other than what's shared here on this calendar, just share meaningful updates on a regular basis within your fundraiser. And I think you will see the success of the success that Jacqueline has seen. And I love that, and Jacqueline used my own words, I'm going to reiterate those now. If you don't ask, the only answer that you have is no. And so my challenge is for everybody to just get registered for the walk and support JDRF in whatever way you feel comfortable and capable of doing, and just put it out there on Facebook. Link your fundraiser to Facebook and invite your friends and see what happens. I do this every year and I'm always surprised. I did it last night and invited all my friends. I have a lot of people in my Facebook family that are people with T1D in their lives. And I know a lot of them have walk teams. I know a lot of them are people who used to have walk teams and their children have kind of aged and they're not interested in the walk anymore. So they might not be fundraising, but I know they still are passionate about the cause. Well, I posted my fundraiser on Facebook last night and I received a few donations. One of the people who used to raise money for the walk actually shared my fundraiser on their page. And I got another $25 donation from one of his friends that I don't know. So that is the power of social media. And I think a lot of people take it for granted that people might be seeing your fundraiser and your story and your posts that may be touched by type 1 that you don't know at all. So that's where the power of Facebook comes in. I want to let Jacqueline talk about these last couple of bullet points that are not necessarily related to Facebook fundraising, but are also things that she has done that have led to more of her fundraising success. So.
Great, thank you. So in addition to the Facebook, which has been our primary source of fundraising, we have done some specific fundraising. For example, all of our aunts and uncles, the girls' aunts and uncles, my aunts and uncles, the girls' grandparents, their great-grandparents, they all get a personalized text from Lila. And it, you know, each year it's a little bit different. This year was kind of, you know, saying, hi, Aunt Julie, I can't wait to see you again. I'm fundraising again for the JDRF. They've made a lot of improvements. Just in the past year, we've had the advancement of the Basal IQ pump, which has made a huge difference in my life, and letting them know, how the money that they donated last year has helped them. And just sending texts out to aunts and uncles was probably about $1,000 all told. And that took, 20 minutes to just not even copy and paste, the message, help Lila copy and paste it to the contacts that are already in my phone. And that was very impactful, because these are people that love her very, very much and want to support her, and they have seen her struggles, and they want to support her. The other thing we did was last week, we thought we're going to expand our reach, and we're going to send out some letters. And here's my twins. So Lila has the orange shirt, and her twin sister Sonia is in the green shirt, and they sat down and they mailed out about 50 letters. And we sent letters to congressmen and senators and Supreme Court justices and business executives, doctors, all of the doctors that treat Lila, from endocrinologists to ophthalmologists. We actually hand delivered a letter to her chiropractor last week, and he said to her, I get people in here, my clients that are athletes, asking me for donations all the time for this and this camp or this and this cause. He says, but I always tell him no. He's like, but honey, I am going to donate to you. And it turns out his mom had type 1 diabetes. And so it's amazing how many people are touched by type 1 that we don't even know about. And so asking, like Stacy and I keep saying, I always say, if you don't ask, the answers automatically no. But we just mailed the letters out last week, and we got a $500 donation yesterday from one of the letters that was just barely received in San Diego. And so I know, and it was to a business executive. And so if there's any businesses that you work for, that your spouse, that your parents work for, ask them. The only thing they can tell you is either yes or no, but there's no reason to not include your child's dance studio, your child's karate studio, piano teachers, all the people that love your child and are impacted to your child. Include a letter and send it with your child, or send it in the mail. Lila and I drafted a letter this year, and it just talked about how Lila attended space camp last summer and loved it and wants to be an astronaut. And she was devastated when they told her, well, type 1s cannot go to space. And so Lila has made it her mission, her lunar mission, to find a cure for type 1 diabetes, so she can be the first cured type 1 diabetic in space. And so we often tell that story, and we tell them that's our why. That's our why for fundraising and for supporting the JDRF, and it's very impactful. So in addition to Facebook, think outside of the box. Contact the people that you love, send out letters, send out emails and personalized text, and it makes a huge impact. We've had donations of $5, which I'm so grateful for, and we were surprised when we got after an email, we got a $5,000 donation. And so we've gotten, which is obviously an anomaly, we've gotten everything in between $5 and $5,000 just by sending out emails, Facebook, and some texts.
And the other thing that I love, thank you, Jacqueline, is on her fundraiser page on Facebook, Lila goes live on Facebook Live, and she sits down and she talks about, she's done it twice now, I think. The first one, she actually, or maybe it's 3 times, one of her update posts on her Facebook fundraiser was Lila giving an update on research and talking about things in research that are going on that are impacting her day-to-day life right now. Things that her donors last year potentially had funded that are making her life easier, helping with her blood sugar management, and propelling us forward towards a cure. And those are things that I think matter to your donors, mostly because if you're going to continue fundraising and you're going to ask them for donations, I think your donors would appreciate hearing that the donation they made to JDRF on your behalf is actually changing your life and helping you live a better quality of life right now. And it's not just pie in the sky when we find a cure, however many months or years from now. It's immediate, and that impact is really effective in helping people understand why it's important to donate to JDRF. So if anybody wants to follow Jacqueline's fundraiser, feel free to email me. There's a link right there. I'm sure you don't want to, I'll link it when I upload this video to YouTube. I will share Jacqueline and Lila's fundraiser in our YouTube video link. Jacqueline, do you have anything else you want to mention?
You know, thank you, Stacey, for all of that. The one other thing I wanted to throw in there was, excuse me, to make sure to expand your reach. And as I mentioned, I took my husband's phone and invited all of his contacts. You can do the same thing. You can either take their phone or ask them. Like your in-laws, your parents, your siblings, to invite all of their contacts too. Because, you know, I've asked my sister and she loves my daughter, you know, like her own. And so for her to add her contacts is another 500 people that are seeing her niece and the impact that diabetes has on her niece, or their granddaughter and things like that. And so you may think, oh, I don't have that many Facebook contacts, but ask your friends and family if they will invite all of their contacts. And again, it's not intrusive. If they don't want to accept it, they want to decline it, they can overlook it, or more likely than not, they'll see it and be interested and donate it. And so we easily have, 1,000 to 2,000 people that can see the posts that we make just because of inviting other people and then the updates that we make. So it's not hard to have a wide reach.
Such great advice. And just for the record, my fundraiser is at $465 just overnight. And I think that is not abnormal. I feel like that is a very attainable number. And I think a lot of times, and I talk about this every time I talk about fundraising with individuals or families or companies, I feel like Jacqueline's story, the fundraising that Jacqueline has achieved is fantastic and phenomenal. But I will say it's probably not the norm. And I feel like a lot of people could potentially be intimidated by seeing a team that raises $11,000 a year. And I want to make sure that everybody listening, everybody watching, understands that every dollar is so important. And the way that nonprofits have been affected by the side effects of the COVID-19 pandemic is it's near catastrophic, and it's very we need everybody's help more than ever. And small contribution, not every dollar is important. So even if a team raises $100 or just donates $20, you know, each of those donations are adding up into a bigger pile of contributions we're able to allocate towards research that is going to find a cure for this disease. And so you are important, and your fundraiser is important, and each and every person that contributes to you, whether it's $1, $10, $100, is very important, and it means so much to JDRF, especially right now. So as you guys know, we are moving forward this year in 2020 with a virtual walk day. And while we are still making plans for what that walk day will look like, we know it's going to be virtual, and we are working on this campaign called the Unified Utah Campaign. And we are hoping to recruit a team captain, or a team, any number of teams registered from all 29 counties in the state of Utah. And right now we have teams represented from 5 counties. So we have a long ways to go, But I know that there are people across the entire state who are affected by type 1. And I would love to see that number grow into 15 over the week and the weekend. So we can register today by visiting walk.jdrf.org/Utah and get your fundraiser started on Facebook so easily. And if you have any questions or issues with getting your fundraiser link, you are more than welcome to email me, call me. I will make sure that my email information is included in the YouTube upload. But I'm more than happy to help anybody. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. I feel pretty confident in my ability to coach any team to raising $1,000. Nobody's taken me up on that offer yet, but a lot of the people who are registered are fantastic fundraisers already. So if you need some help and you think that you'd like to be a part of this, I would love to help you in your fundraising journey. So that's about all for me. Jacqueline, anything else for you?
No, that's it. I just agree. I think any team can reach $1,000 way easier than they think they can. Probably in a matter of days between Facebook and phone calls and some emails and just asking for a few donations, it will add up very quickly. And despite the economic crisis, people still have money to donate and they still have money to share, and they want to share and they want to give and they want to contribute and help make your child's life better.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Jacqueline. Always a pleasure. We will be back with another webinar in the next couple of weeks. The topic is to be determined, but it will be another fantastic way to be a part of the JDRF One Walk. And I hope to see you all signing up for our walk ASAP. There's no time like the present. So walk.jdrf.org is the website. And thank you so much for joining us. We will catch you next time.
Thank you.